you're a musician.
I am.
Hamilton Diocese, just like
Hamilton
the rest of us
Diocese,
here.
yep.
And you've been at this a while.
Because there is some music in my family. I have an older brother that plays.
Well, no, we talked about this in the last one. Your generation is very needy. Bruce has really invested himself into this whole Adagio program.
And on this first page, can I lift my left hand?
Yeah.
So he didn't, though. I'm looking at him. The sweat's going. His nose starts bleeding.
He's looking out for me.
Yeah.
Nobody downstairs is going to care. You know what? They're just happy that you're here.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest with you, you put forth a decent, honest effort. People are just so appreciative. And I don't want any priest to get mad at me if you're watching this, but, you know, Holy Week comes along or Christmas, and it's like,
I was ready.
Yeah.
and I'm watching him. The orchestra's over on the other side, chucking away.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm watching him, and he's like, and I'm like, hey, I gotcha.
Yeah.
And, you know, you watch the Mass, you never know. Are they going to rename the Wayne Gretzky Parkway now?
Check out the video if you haven't seen it.
It was quite something.
Yeah. And then once we get to that point, the new hymnal is going to come out.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's just going to throw us all off anyway.
Christmas is coming too.
Yeah.
Like how many years have we been hearing
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah.
All right, welcome everybody. Here we are from the Tower. We've got with us today Dave Cahill from Brantford.
Brantford.
From St. Basil's Church, actually very beautiful church. I'll put an image up on the screen so you can see exactly what it's like. But welcome, Dave.
Thank you. It's great
We've
to
been
be
talking
here.
about this for a long time.
Yeah, we have.
And then we had Easter happen.
It kind of got in the way.
Totally, always gets in the way. Exactly.
It's too late.
And then, Bruce, you were away in New York, world traveler here,
Yeah.
playing at St. Pat's and everything like that. So, welcome back. Actually, you had a successful time down
Yes.
there.
Beautiful
That organ's
picture of
now-
you at the console.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
you
look
played
good.
at Mass.
Oh, yes.
The organ is now being dismantled to go back for refurb.
That's right.
And we'll be back in 2027,
Right.
from what I understand. So, it's going to be exciting for them. But we should thank today's sponsor, actually. Do we have a sponsor?
No, not yet.
No? Okay, we got no sponsor.
That's
so I
okay.
guess we're not going to thank a sponsor.
Okay, there's no
but,
one to thank anyway.
We'll thank ourselves.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
All
at,
thank from the Tower Productions.
From the Tower Productions,
Yeah.
there you go. And here we are in the Tower. So Dave, you're a musician.
I am.
Hamilton Diocese, just like
Hamilton
the rest of
Diocese,
us here. And you've been at this a while.
I have. I started at St. Basil's. I just had my 24th anniversary. I started there in May 2001. I was 2 weeks shy of my 22nd birthday. So I was actually 21 when I started there.
Really?
And I started playing at churches, I want to say 1997. And the only reason I really got into it, I needed an arts credit in high school. Took keyboarding, musical keyboarding, not the Commodore 64. Ding.
I had a Vic 20, so.
Yeah. So I took it, and because there is some music in my family, I have an older brother that plays.
Right.
We're going to talk about him too.
We'll bash him for a while after. But,
All right.
and I don't ask me where the music came from, because my parents, not so much. Younger brother, not so much. Had a grandmother apparently that played down in PEI, so we'll say we got it from Nanny. But so I started at St. Basil's in May 2001.
For playing for 24 years. It didn't even look like he's 24 years old.
I know.
Oh,
Unreal.
Maybe 22.
yeah, maybe 23 and a half.
Wow, yeah.
It's the haircut.
But you started when you were 21.
At St. Basil's, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Full
started
time.
when I was 71.
Yes, that's all right. It's never too old to start.
No.
I mean, it's just a number.
I think I'm some kind of experiment.
Well, no, we talked about this in the last one. Your generation is very needy.
All right.
Yeah,
True
so-
story.
Yes, true
Yeah.
story about that generation.
Yeah.
That'll be a whole show on itself one day, but
There's a whole web series. You saw that to
could be a
Netflix.
two-part series.
Yeah, you saw that to Netflix, Amazon Prime.
Could.
Yeah, make some coin.
Actually, Bruce is going to start a series on music for young children and things like that. He's got some grandchildren
Nice.
that are doing music.
The neuroscience. I think we need to take from the Royal Conservatoire of Music and other researchers about the neuroscience of the benefits of music education, because today it's been replaced by sports, which are excellent too, but there's a lot to be said for the neuroscientific effects on our neurons and our dendrites in the brain, and so I want to do
And they do put out good stats about that.
Yeah.
The conservatory, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's good research.
And it's our standard of learning up here, so
Yeah.
which is good. So yeah, they're very. It's a reputable.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. You're going to have some good things to talk about there.
2 or 3 part series.
Nice.
on that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So how many masses you got down there, Dave?
We do 3 a weekend, 5 o'clock Saturday night, 9:30, 11:30 Sunday morning. I'm there
pretty
for
much
all
the same
3.
as us, yeah.
Yeah, I'm there for all 3.
All right. Are you doing organ for specific ones and guitar for? Because you have a folk choir and you're also the organist too.
We're not really a full choir anymore. We kind of mishmash it. That's the professional term. That's the technical term. I read it in the dictionary somewhere. So 2 out of 3 masses I'm up in our loft, and we've got a nice 1909 Warren pipe organ, 3 manual, 30 rank, give or take, 2,200
It's
pipes.
a decent size.
Yeah, 2,200 pipes, needs a lot of work. And then on Sunday mornings for the 9:30 mass, what happened was, and this again about 8 years ago, I guess, we got a call from a local artist, Dr. John Vandetwin, and he says, I want to donate a piano to the church. And I said, oh yeah, I think it's a little apartment size, right? Put it off on the side by the one confessional. If we need to play downstairs, just wheel it out and everything's good. So he gives me a call and he says, so you're the young guy that plays there? And I'm like, okay, I'm 38 or so I'll take the young guy. And he goes, it's 5'7" grand piano. It's a 1927 Nordheimer. I thought, okay. He goes, it's in my other bedroom in my apartment. So I mean, sure, we'll take you, right? We paid to have it delivered and set it up downstairs. And from there, we kind of had to just tuck it off to the side, took out a couple of pews.
Yeah.
And then from there, that little part of me was like, I want an organ downstairs. I want to supplement it. Because there's just some stuff the piano doesn't do justice for.
Right.
And I'm one of those guys, I don't want to be separate from the choir. So I won't go upstairs to play if the choir's downstairs. Mm-hmm. The timing just always gets off. And we can't.
Because it's not a small church.
No, it's maybe 2/3 of the size of this.
Yeah, it's a very decent size.
Yeah.
Pillars and everything. It's quite a nice church. Yeah.
So I had gone through a couple of organs, and we now have the 1927 Nordheimer, and we've got a Rogers 535. Nice. And the funny thing is, I bought this just from a closed church down in Port Dover. Mm-hmm. Okay. And a Knox Presbyterian church that just closed down. And I got a message today from the guy that bought the building. Ironically, just as I was driving away to come here. And he says, hey, he goes, we have this sequencer in the manual for the organ. He goes, do you want it? Well, it's their MIDI module. Yeah. I'm like, yes, I'll take it. Yep. So I'm excited to get that. And so between the 3 masses, the 5 o'clock and the 11:30 when I'm upstairs, I'm primarily organ. We've got a Techniques piano upstairs. Mm-hmm. I'll use maybe for communion. When we do work from the front, I'll use the same hymns for all 3 masses, but I might stylistically change it up a bit. So I'll flop between piano, organ, and guitar, mm-hmm. depending on the day, the song, the mood. Mm-hmm. And I've got a wonderful flautist that plays at the 9:30 mass too.
It's nice.
She's just phenomenal. So I'm lucky to have her.
You got one priest down there, right?
We have one priest, Father Kevin D'Souza. So he's a late vocation. He's a widower. Okay. And he will tell the story that he's got 2 daughters, 6 grandkids. And then he always likes to point out, especially when we're at the masses, if there's, anniversary masses, weddings, or confirmations or anything like that. I'm a widower. There's no scandal. I have my own, because he'll tell I have my kids and my grandkids, so he does have to point out. Right. He's great, though. He and I have really gotten into sync with each other. So much so that it actually messed us up this past weekend. Because I know what they right down to his hand gestures, what he's going to do. And he didn't do something. And it caused me to play the Gloria when I didn't need to. Oh. So we were just at that conference. We just joke about it, though.
But I mean, if that's the biggest problem you have.
That's the biggest, I think we'll be okay.
Nothing, right? Yeah.
We'll be all right.
That's a huge part. You got to gel with your pastor. Yeah. And if you can get that part at least, then makes his job a lot easier. Yeah. Oh, we had a lot of fun over the last couple of weeks, after the Holy Father, God rest his soul, passed away, making sure that he didn't slip up and say Francis our Pope anytime. And to the point where he finally actually made a note and put it on.
because and he was good. He was diligent about it.
Yeah.
But you could just see because that's the only pope that he's known,
Right.
Because he was ordained in 2017.
Oh,
yeah.
So he's always known Francis our pope and Douglas our bishop,
Yeah.
and now Wayne his assistant.
Yeah, that's right.
Now we've lost Francis.
You got to get used to saying Leo again.
He's got to get used to saying Leo. So he was very emphatic this week, and he was very good.
Because forever it was John Paul, right? Forever when
Yeah.
I was growing up, right? And then when it became Benedict, it was like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, big culture shock. Just to change, just to remember to,
Yeah.
Because it's like rote, right? You just keep saying
Oh, yeah.
it. And it's just,
I like when I hear people call Father Leo, though, the ones that grew up with him.
Yeah.
Bob.
Bob.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, like we got a Bob for a pope.
Yeah.
And that brings it home to, you know, like the average lay person.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not like Father this or Pope that.
Yeah.
It's just,
But he's out there singing the Regina Coeli.
Oh,
and he's
beautifully
saying
too,
that
right?
people are just like
Got a good voice.
really taking to him.
Yeah.
I think this has been it's a good move.
Oh, I
you
know.
Yeah.
Great. Great.
You know, I don't know if I read it wrong, but I saw that Pizza Balla guy. He was leaving after.
Yeah.
And he looked a little upset. I don't know if he was upset, but he was making
Yeah.
a beeline for the bus or something. But
Well, the one thing I heard about his first papal bull, and the people of Rome and Italy are not impressed with it, that all pizza now has to be deep dish.
because he's Chicago.
Chicago boy, right? So
And I heard his brother went over, his family
Yeah.
finally went over to get, you know, it's great.
Yeah.
Because he was talking to his family every day on
Yeah.
the phone, which is great.
Yeah.
I think it's just a great dynamic.
yeah. Well, I saw the video today where he called his brother,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and the brother was being interviewed by the news, and he's like, "Where, you know, our Holy Father, where have you been? Talking on the news, and you're on the TV right now."
Even the brother seems like a nice
Yeah.
guy. They interviewed him, right? He did,
Yeah.
It seems like a really nice background.
Yeah, but I think humanizing it is probably the biggest thing. Brings it right down to the people because,
Yep.
you know, with everything else in the world, to a lot of people, he's still just Bob.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You know, but
He's only been a cardinal for 2 years.
yeah,
So this is pretty good for him,
Yeah.
you know?
yeah,
Well, we're happy, I think.
Oh, I look
Yeah.
I
forward.
think it's so far so good.
Yeah.
you know?
yeah. He's
And
had
I
a good
think
week.
We got good things to look forward
Yeah.
to, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, it's going to be good.
You got a whole family of musicians. A whole family.
I do.
And
I do.
I don't only I see more than just the family. The dynamic, it's a loving family actually. You guys are pretty tight, close knit. I see from your posts anyways that this is a whole
Yeah.
effort by everybody.
All lies. Social media and all.
Because your beautiful wife Joy, she sings.
She sings.
She's the singer.
Yeah.
And your daughter's involved in the music?
So the way Joy and I met was very interesting. 2002, World Youth Day, leading up, not
Yeah.
actually there, but leading up to it, she worked at a horse farm in Wheatley. I worked at an insurance desk in Hamilton. Dwayne was part of the music ministry, or the youth ministry at Our Lady of Sorrows in Elmer, Ontario, down London Way.
Right.
And they were doing a concert for the Pilgrims because a whole whack of Pilgrims were staying in Elmer. Because, you know, when you think of Toronto, you think of Elmer right after, right?
It goes one hand in
Basically,
hand,
yeah,
right?
you know, they say that Elmer is the Toronto of Southern Ontario.
All right.
So what actually ended up happening was I went down for one of their life team masses. And it was a culture shock because my first priest at St. Basil's was Father Don San Vito.
Remember him?
So-
He was just here on the weekend.
Oh, was
actually.
it? Excellent.
Yeah.
So a little straight and narrow. Love Father Don, though. Phenomenal guy. Always softs my shoulder and calls me Davey still.
I call him Columbo.
Yeah, I've heard a million people call him that. It's hilarious. And so went down to this life team mass, and they're all happy and hugging and standing around the altar during the mass parts and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, I don't know anybody, but I guess you're all hugging me. But long story short, their music director, band director, said, "Oh, we need a bass player for our concert." And I said, "Well, I play the bass." So that's how I ended up. And then went down to the church one time for practice, and in comes this beautiful young lady. The rest was history. I told Dwayne I thought she was beautiful, knowing that it would make the trek down to her mother, and it all went good from there. So, Joy sings. She sings a lot for me. She'll sing whenever I ask her to, whenever I need her to. My older daughter plays the guitar. Little shyer, has a little bit of social anxiety, so she likes it when I play upstairs.
Okay. Yep.
She tried to steal my 12-string. And then when my father-in-law gave her one of his Washburn 12 strings, she rubbed it in my face, because terrible child. No, she's a great kid. Goes to the University of Guelph.
Yeah.
So have my own little connection to Guelph now too.
Yep.
My younger one doesn't sing, or she can sing, but she doesn't really enjoy it as much. She's used to serve at Mass. She loves going to Mass. She loves, she's actually really starting to embrace her faith a lot more. So, then like my late father-in-law, he played the guitar.
Yep.
He and my wife and my daughters did a music ministry in the London diocese and then the St. Catherine's diocese for a couple of brief periods of time. Then I've got an older brother, St. Matthew's in Oakville. Phenomenal organist,
One of the
phenomenal
largest
singer.
parishes in the diocese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, and it pains me to say this because I know this is being recorded and it may go, be out there for all to see, but
Dwayne, this is for you.
this is 100%. When we talk about splitting up the musical talent pool from my family, he's vastly got more in the bucket than I got in. I think he's phenomenal. He's got a great voice.
He does a very beautiful voice.
He's a great,
The
amazing
diocese
voice.
uses him a lot as a camp.
Yeah.
Because he just sings so well, yeah.
Better musician than I am, but I play more instruments. I have a real pipe organ, and my piano is 1 inch bigger.
There you go.
So there's our sibling rivalry, right?
Because he's got a nice organ down there.
Yeah.
And he does have the piano too. But there's something else that bothered me about you, Dwayne. We'll talk about it right here. You got somebody that plays for you while you just direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's got 4 masses a weekend too, so we'll give him a little credit, but I think he may play for one of them.
He may, or half of one maybe.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
But I have to say he's putting out a good ministry.
Yeah,
down there,
he's got a good product down there.
Good. And he works well with the piano, with the accompanist there. So I forget her name. But anyhow, they get along quite well. And that's part of the thing. Like, we get along quite well.
Yeah.
Julian, not so much.
No, not Julian.
But,
No, it is
socks. But anyhow.
Beautiful socks.
But he's got quite a big parish to deal with,
does.
and it goes over well there. So, you know what? In the family, I think it's great.
Yeah.
When I was at your church, I came for that concert that night, that guy was singing.
Yeah, Charles de Raimondo, great,
Yeah.
phenomenal time.
Now, was that the piano that he was playing? Was the...
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it was gorgeous piano. He was a singer and a piano player.
Yeah.
And they did this wonderful program.
Yeah.
But I came for Mass. And your whole family was doing the thing.
Yeah.
I believe it was your father-in-law was playing too.
My father-in-law was there, my wife was there, my daughter was there.
So I came for Mass because the concert was like right after, and I thought I was going to come hang out because I knew. And then Dwayne played at it too.
Yeah.
He went up and did an organ song. It was great.
Yeah.
And I had a fantastic evening.
Yeah.
I got to talk to these guys after, and it was just, I have to say, those guys were top notch.
Yeah.
Coming in. I think
Adolfo and Charles were phenomenal. Right?
They go on the road and do their thing, right? I looked them up after, and it was just. What a great night in Brantford, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it's fun, Dwayne, whenever he comes down, because he has a content organ.
Yeah,
so when he
that's
comes
right.
down, he loves the pipes. He'll, again, one of those things that I like to rub in. I don't have much over him musically, but I've got the real pipe organ, and but I do share.
Gothic church too.
Yeah.
I have one.
You have a content organ at home.
Do you?
He's got a big 3-mango.
Nice.
Yeah. He. Bruce has really invested himself into this whole adagio program.
Adagio, that's all he thinks I can play.
Sad adagios. Some are happier than others,
Not
but
too many. But
no, there's a few that are bordering on like maybe at the crack a smile adagio.
maybe.
But you
He tells me all I need is 25 more years.
You got that in the bag.
Yeah.
No, my doctor says
Yeah.
it's pretty close.
Yeah, you got plenty of time.
Yeah, we might be crawling up the stairs at some point, but
Maybe, I'll fall asleep maybe half the time.
Well, you got a nice wide stairwell here, though.
Yeah.
And you got some nice landings on
because
it,
it just
right?
used to be this spiral in here before, which was a nightmare. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
For, if the fire department ever had to get somebody out that was sick or something like that, they used to lower baskets over the railing.
Yeah.
They used to practice that all the time. But now at least we've got that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they did. They would practice lowering the. They were always here practicing. That.
No, I learned the hard way. 24 years of climbing those stairs, and even 2 weeks ago, we were kind of running at the last minute, and I got upstairs and so, and someone pointed out that loft was built like in the 1800s, 1867.
That's right. Yeah.
Is when the church was first, or the parish is from 1840. The current church was started in 1867.
Right.
Dresses and humans were bigger back then. I don't know how they made it up that loft. That's a narrow stairwell.
It's wild because you're walking up the stairs and the pedal pipes are along the stairway as you go up, right? Oh. And they've got the dowels in there for the speaking at the mouth, and Okay, so my story about the organ at your church was years and years ago when Father San Vito was there.
Yep.
I had to do a wedding there. I was filling in for somebody doing a wedding, and and it was a lovely singer that I had there. I was so fortunate that she was there. She belonged to the church there, and she got me through this whole thing. So, and up in the choir loft, there was a piano too.
Yeah.
Like, it might have been still that digital.
Yeah, it's that Techniques that's up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started on the organ, and if it didn't start ciphering, big pipes, like trumpet pipes or something, cornopians. And I'm like, okay, I'll just use the piano. No problem.
Yeah.
So I just shut it off, went over to the piano. And then at the end, it was the wedding march, and I thought, I want to use the organ for that, right? So what I did is I turned everything on, not the organ, just flipped all the stops. And then as soon as Mr. and Mrs. whatever, I flipped it on and I started playing right away. And by the time I was done, there was probably 5 or 6 more that were
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, I just shut this off. And,
and the thing is though, it's a great big box that you have to. It's not a light button to push to turn that thing, the blower on and off. Yeah.
I know, but it's a nice sounding organ. It's got some good tone to it. Yeah. And hopefully maybe get into that X Chord A fund and maybe get some.
The funny thing is, the first time I met Father Kevin was at a Sarah Club dinner in Hamilton. Just before, it was after he was announced that the move was coming, but before I had to come in. So we introduced each other. Father Earl Talbot introduced us, and he says, "Do you guys have a pipe organ there?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Just so you know, on your first thing, I'm going to ask you for $250,000.
Right.
And he goes, "Yeah, okay, we'll talk about that."
That's about what we spent on ours.
Yeah.
To refurb that, it goes really fast. I mean, it doesn't take long to add up.
Like the thing with our organ is the console is kind of a Frankenstein organ. It's got molar keys and a different shell and
tilting tabs.
Yeah. And the 4-foot mixture on the swell, the tab's loose. So we've had a few situations where we've had beautiful strings and we're playing a nice communion piece and everything's going great, and then all of a sudden, it's like
mixture comes on.
Yeah. So I've learned that shoving a pencil underneath it really does help.
That's the way to do it. Sometimes you got to get creative, right? I mean, it's just the way it is.
Thankfully, my swell controls are on my left. So so I could, as I'm doing that, I can just shove it.
Keep them with the right hand and just keep.
Yeah, it was, and I felt bad because one time my stunt double, as we call him, Travis. And my substitute, he was every now and then I'll be, "Hey, do you want to cover for me? Do you want to play a song? Do you want to play a hymn while you're here?" And oh yeah, okay. I put him on the spot sometimes, and he'll, you see him like, "I'm not ready." I'm like, "Okay, don't worry. You want some bench time? It's okay. I'll let you play." We were doing When Love Is Found. Oh, Wally Wally.
Yeah.
Same thing. He didn't notice it. He registers the whole thing, starts playing. I'm sitting up in the loft. And you would just think you're going to hear this, na na na. Now it just comes out this beautiful, abrasive. And you see him panicking, and he wouldn't look at me, which is a good idea. And my wife leans over. She's like, "What happened?" I said, "Mixture tab just dropped on him." And he felt so bad after. And I said,
"Oh, not at all. I don't worry about stuff like that."
No, it doesn't bother me at all either, right? But he's the new guy, right? So he's just getting his feet wet.
Nobody downstairs is going to care. You know what? They're just happy that you're here.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and you put forth a decent, honest effort. People are just so appreciative. Who cares how many mistakes you make, right?
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere.
I felt so bad for him. I'll tell you a funny story. The first time he covered for me, I went 8 years without a backup. My backup was a great guy. Only played the piano, but a great guy named Rob Terry passed away way too young. Would have done anything for me, always covered for me if I needed him to. Great guy. But we couldn't find a substitute for the longest time. And then Travis comes along and he says, "Hey, I want to, like to introduce myself and yada, yada, yada." And I said, "Hey," "can you cover for me this weekend?" I said, "For 2 weekends." I said, "We're actually going to be going to Florida." "Yeah, sure, no problem." So he goes in, he covers for me. I am driving out of, we're right on the Georgia and Tennessee border. And my phone starts binging. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:15 in the morning. And my wife thinks, "Travis is messaging you." So what's he messaging me for? "PA system's completely pooched. He wants to know if you can fix it."
Oh.
Like we're going down the
I-75 here. Just get to Knoxville.
So it wasn't, I felt so bad for him. Because normally they would just turn to me to do it. And it finally did work out. They just did the old unplug and plug it back in. And
Resets itself.
reset itself. Everything was good. But it took him a while. He was a nice little baptism by fire for that poor boy.
We've all been through it.
Yeah. We've all been through it.
We've all had something, right?
Yeah.
It makes us stronger, though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you've had one yet, though.
Well, I've had a few. I played them, and the priest, Father Ian, he was supposed to be finished all that incense up there on the altar.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. So you just said, play it again.
Just play it again.
Play it
just
again.
play an instrumental verse. That's
And
all you do.
He pulled pistons and things, and it sounded good because I was a little nervous about improvisation.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
okay. You just keep playing it through.
Yeah.
You know, the improvisation comes with time. Just the more you do it.
Yeah. No, it's I felt bad. The craziest thing that ever happened to me, and I pulled the wool over everybody's eyes. Thankfully, I still had a guitar up in the loft at the time, but we were playing communion now in this banquet. Just the organ just stopped.
Whoa.
So a fuse blew on it, but I didn't know what it was.
Oh, okay.
Like literally mid hymn. So I slid right off the bench because my guitar was right beside, and I started playing. And you're right, the congregation, they appreciate the music. But the amount of people that gave me compliments for that beautiful transition I did from organ to guitar.
You always got to have a plan B.
Yeah.
You always got to be thinking ahead in case something happens,
Yeah.
right? And the more you do this, the more you get accustomed to, oh, this is okay. I'll just go over and start, play the guitar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to run into it. It's just a matter of time. It's
Yeah.
not if, it's when.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah.
that's good for you. Did you have the singers just kept singing?
Yeah, they just
Yeah.
kept
So
going.
I mean, as long as you can remember that Dave the organ was cacking out here.
Yes.
That we had a plug that was oxidized.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it was glitching out. So it got to the point where I'd be playing and then all of a sudden be like, "Bah," everything would come
Yeah.
on, right? And I thought, okay, I can't do this for Mass. So I just shut it off.
Yeah.
And we just had, it was the summertime and I had about 10 or 12 people
Yeah.
in the choir that still like to come in the summer,
Yeah.
right? So we just sang the Mass and the next day they came and fixed it. But I mean, what do you got to
You got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the when it comes to talking about ministries, there's one thing that we have to say that we're the ones. I mean, if something happens with us, it's always going to be noticeable. The priest, he can flub a line, he can reverse something, but he can still, if he fakes it, he gets away with it.
It's like we're doing live.
We're
music
doing
up there.
live
It's
music.
like we're live on
Yeah.
the fly all the time,
Yep.
right? And I don't want any priest to get mad at me if you're watching this, but you know, Holy Week comes along or Christmas, and it's like, oh, so exhausting. All these masses, where there's 5 masses and there's 3 priests, so they're spelling it off, and it's like, okay, but
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
here we are.
As much music.
Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
We got 5 hours between the midnight Mass and the
Oh.
Mass that just happened before. They're just at home. I'm not going to go home to Cambridge, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, I'll just stay.
Yeah.
I'll watch Netflix or I don't know. What am I going to do, right?
Yeah.
So and then Holy Week comes along.
Yep.
Same thing, right? They're so fortunate they can spell each other off.
Yeah.
And reading 36-point font out of a book. I mean, it's just a pretty cool gig, right?
Yeah.
And but here we are.
Yeah.
And then you're a cappella on Good Friday and
Yeah.
most of Holy Thursday. So it's like extra stress,
Yeah.
extra pressure, right? And I guess
Yeah.
we're just whatever.
Yeah, we do. This,
Yeah.
Like the one thing I said, the biggest compliment I got this year for Holy Week was from both Father Kevin and a lot of the parishioners was we didn't miss a beat. No pun intended with the musical term, but we were on point for everything.
Yeah.
Timing wise,
That's
right?
the good clashing
Yeah.
together or mixing together,
Yeah.
meshing together.
I knew where he was, Father Kevin was going to be. I knew what we had to do, and just everything was. And like I said to the choir in my post-Easter address to them, when you think about it, we're the only ministry in the church that practices weekly for 10 months, 11 months, 12 months, whatever it is.
You're there twice a week at least.
Yeah,
That's the thing, and it's the same thing, elector, if you're on, maybe you're on once every 3-4
Yeah.
weeks or something like that. Your Eucharistic ministers, they've got a rotation.
They got their
schedule
cycle.
too. But you got the choirs here twice a week,
Yeah.
minimum, through the season,
Yeah.
10 out of the 12 months, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I
yeah,
don't know, I think sometimes people lose track of that the choir is a very dedicated
yeah,
ministry.
Very, very
Yeah.
dedicated.
Yeah.
And if the music is challenging, then they have to
Yeah.
be really dedicated.
I remember watching your last one with your last interview with Diego, and you
Diego,
talked
yeah.
about how we're running right to the end of June now this year.
Oh yeah,
because of how
was
late
it
Easter
the
was.
19th of
Yeah.
June is Corpus Christi.
Yeah, something like
and
that.
it's kind of like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
right?
22nd of June.
22nd. So
Yeah.
here, normally it's like first week in June.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, call it a season, right?
Yeah.
And by then, they're ready for the break. I'm ready
Yeah.
for the break, and it's just have a nice, easy summer.
Yeah.
And but this year, which we had the benefit of extra time to learn the Easter music, because we had a ton of new stuff that we did this year, but it just means the season goes longer. So next year, it's the start of April?
I think so.
Good Friday's April the 9th.
Yeah.
So the 11th is Easter Sunday, so it's a little earlier.
Yeah.
But
we.
then you get those ones that are Easter Sundays on March 24th or something.
Yeah.
Like that, right? So it's like right after Christmas, you're into Lent. Ash Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
It's
The
like,
one year, Christmas Day, and then literally 3 months later was Good Friday.
Yeah.
March 25th was Good
That's
Friday.
That's right. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like hardly any time.
I don't think people realize just how much we're sort of unique musicians that you prepare new music every week.
That's right.
What musician has to prepare new music and a lot of music? Like sometimes I look at a mass and I'm like, I think there's over 20 times.
Yeah.
The organ
Between
or
the
the
service
choir,
music and all that.
you know, through the whole mass. Like, why don't we just sing 2 hymns or something? I want to sit down.
Like if you go on concert, right? You're playing the same songs because you're going on a concert.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
on tour.
But here it's the same as
new
music.
music.
Every week, right?
Yeah, weekly, 4 new hymns.
And the
new
other
songs.
thing is we've got to look out for each other because, like, for example, on Easter, I got my Ave Verum all ready. The choir's going to sing, and Joe's the conductor.
Oh yeah, Bruce is playing.
Yeah, I'm
And
playing.
he put it up. There's 3 pages, but he puts 2 up, but 1 page is behind the other.
Yeah, they all
And
behind
I'm like,
each other.
I saw what he did, but I'm going to make him
And
sweat a little bit. I'm going to wait.
And I'm there like, when on this first page can I lift my left hand?
Yeah.
You know,
So he
get-
didn't, though. I'm looking at it. The sweat's
he's-
going. His nose starts bleeding.
He's looking out for me.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he had the little leg drummer there, right? It was a little vibrato without it actually
He
happening.
was doing it,
I
and,
noticed.
and, I'm like, I know what's going on, but I'm going to let him wait a minute.
Yeah.
Right? These are teachable moments. We call these
Teachable moments is a good way to look at it. Yeah.
But it was fine. You never know that there was an issue, was there?
No, but you know, you asked me, are you ready?
Yeah.
I looked at my music. I was ready.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him. The orchestra's over on the other side,
Yeah.
chucking away.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm watching him, and he's like, and I'm like, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
And you know, you watch the mass, you never know anything happened.
No.
It was the same in Julian that time at Lessons and Carols. We were doing the piece, and the next one coming up was the big hymn, but he didn't have it out there. And I'm like, where's the music? Where's this kid? Is it in his Buffalo Bills trunk of his car or something? So I just took mine out of the binder as we're singing along, and I just put it on the rack beside him, and spatial awareness. You got to be aware of what's going on.
Oh,
around
yeah.
you, right? I mean, so I mean, we did, and that's what we did. We just get her done, right? The same with you. Organ cuts out. We're just going to go over. We're going to slide. And we'll put a guitar, right? And we'll just finish it off that way.
Oh.
You just.
It doesn't always work though. There was Albinoni's Adagio for strings. It has 7 pages or so.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I had them all over the rack and on the top of the organ and everywhere. There was one piece I even played once where there was so many pages, not just on the rack, but on the top of the organ, that the first page I just had to play with my right hand, so I just threw it on the floor.
Yeah.
Because there's no room.
Save some real
Anyway,
estate.
Albinoni. So Mr. Carere here, he decides to put the 3 last pages on the organ from my right. But that's where I'm looking, at that last page. But he's doing it right. But the point is like, eventually I got lost and I had to say to Joe, where am I?
And I pointed, and he went right. It was fine. There was no problem.
I'll start here.
Bruce, this is the Basilica. This is where you are. That happened. Dwayne was down one time. We did. I invited him down to because St. Basil's is one of the mother churches. You want to go Mother Church of Brantford, one of the pilgrimage churches, stuff like that. But we had the St. Andre Bessette relic.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so I called Dwayne. I said, "Hey, you want to join us?" I said, "I know it's not going to your church, but I'll be a nice brother, right? You know, because we're at St. Basil's here. We're in Brantford, so top notch."
Oh, is that the one that had the little statue and everything with it? Yeah, we had that here.
Yeah, you guys had that here too. Again, top notch, right? And so he comes down, and we're doing mass and everything, and we do the Benoit mass still.
Yeah, okay.
But I didn't realize they have 2 memorial acclamations, and he does the iPad thing. I haven't quite got there yet. I've started it. I've started a little bit, but
I'm all about the iPad.
I'm a little nervous about it still. I got a binder. I take a binder. My kids, when it says Daddy's music book, picture of my daughters hugging each other. Last time they liked each other, and but so he leans over, and I just happened to see, again, spatial awareness. He was playing the piano, and I was actually playing the bass. I haven't played my bass in forever, and I leaned over, and that's not the same as what I have in front of me. So I just grab my book and throw it right in front of him. And I'm like, this one. Oh, okay.
So he's good though. He could adapt.
Oh, easily.
You know,
Yeah.
he's
That's how good he is, right?
You got to get it on the iPad. I mean, I turn pages with my eye blinks.
Yeah.
And he thinks I'm winking at him or something like that. But I'm like, Bruce,
You don't
turn
want
the
to
page, right?
wink when you got a choir in front of you.
Yeah, no, that's the other thing, because for me, I'm scared of that, because it wouldn't be me winking, but it'd be me kind of like shooting lasers through it, and I'm just, what did I just do there? And the next, I'm 7 pages down the road.
I've tried to make it fail and I can't.
Okay.
I really, I'm going along and I'm just one to the next, and if I got to go back, I use the other eye, and it's just the fact that I can scan it all in there and I can use my pencil, I can mark it up, annotate it, and do whatever I want to.
Yeah.
It's just you have a set list. You can set it up as a set list, right? And you just go into the next one, next.
If you're worried about your eyes, use your mouth.
Because you can do mouth gestures too.
Really?
Oh yeah, the iPad.
yeah.
You can choose what gestures you want. You can do like a head nod or a mouth thing or something. Yeah.
Choir thinks you're making faces at them, but you go.
Because the only other option before that was like a bite switch. So you got this cord hanging out of your mouth, Bluetooth.
Yeah.
It worked okay, but it looked weird, right?
Yeah.
So, but the new generations of iPads, they've all got that facial recognition now, which is great. So
yeah, one day maybe.
You get onto it.
Yeah.
You get onto it.
More orchestra players use
They're all using it now.
Okay.
Because number one, then they don't need a light stand.
Yeah.
Or stand light, because they can just turn the brightness up, right? They're all going, and same thing, because before your chair partner, whoever it was, would have to learn to overturn the page.
Right.
And now they're just like, boom, page is turned, right? So I think it's going to be, that's the way it seems to be going.
Yeah.
And I see some people performing and they've got 2 big screens on there that they've merged together, so they can have lots of pages in front of them all at once, right? And
everyone just get to the point where I'm just going to throw the 24-inch monitor right up on the.
Why not? Whatever you need to see, right? I mean, I got to ask you, Brantford, after Mass, is it the ultimate culmination would be going to the Admiral downtown? Mm-hmm. Right? Is it still there even?
No.
It's gone?
Yeah.
You know the place I'm talking about. I mean, it was hardtack city, man. But I'll tell you, it was worth the drive to Brantford.
Yeah.
Sometimes once a year. You couldn't go more than once a year or else you'd Yeah. The Admiral was like a fixture.
Yeah.
And I remember being down there that one time, and I went to the Admiral. And
Yeah.
was like, okay, my life is complete today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the one right by Harmony Square, right? Yeah. You know what? He passed away.
Did he?
Yeah.
Because he was still in there cooking at his age, and it was no screaming great place at all, but I mean, it was
food that you'll never forget.
The double burger was actually a triple burger, and then the fries it was just
when
once a year would be all I could handle.
Yeah, because you need that year for the cholesterol to just kind of filter.
Well, and then you can only eat half. I could never eat it all. I'd take half home, and it was a meal for 2 there at least, right?
Yeah, no, he passed away last year, and the building's not for sale. Yeah.
Well, there goes.
Yeah.
Well, there's always, like you say, the burger barn when it comes back.
Yeah, it's.
I really enjoyed some good. Brantford's got some great things. My wife works in Brantford at Woodview.
Oh, does she?
Woodview Mental Health.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's got some great little hidden gems there.
Yeah.
Down there, we've had some good Indian food. There's a lot of pubs and Chinese and sushi along the highway there. So I mean,
And we stole the Bulldogs now for good from Hamilton.
That's right.
Yep.
I think that's exciting.
Oh, it is.
You should be the hockey game organist. I used to be around here.
I knew
for
that
Kitchener
about
and
you.
Guelph. Yeah, I was the hockey game
I don't even
organist.
know what they have at the Civic Center now, but if we're getting the new arena,
when I stopped doing it, they went to like the canned city kind of thing, because it was, number one, you didn't have to pay somebody.
Yeah. And
it was easier for them, cheaper for them.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, well, this is cheap.
But it's a lot funner for when we have the visiting priests and the older ones, the retired guys from Hamilton, because they're all sports nuts. Yeah. And then, you guys have our Bulldogs. You guys have our Bulldogs. Anyone know how the Bulldogs are doing? Yeah, they're in the playoffs. Don't worry, Father.
Yeah.
Our team's in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Oh, it's great.
Brantford,
Yeah.
And you're keeping them, because you're building a new arena or something, aren't you? Yeah.
And the family from the guy that plays in Edmonton, they bought them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, he bought it. So it's almost like local sort of thing.
So we have a 15-year commitment now that they're staying in Brantford. So.
Are they going to rename the Wayne Gretzky Parkway now?
No, I don't think that's the one thing I don't. We're always going to keep that, man.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember Walter was here a couple times.
Yeah.
Before he passed away, he'd come in, and the person he was with introduced him as Walter. I'm like, hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Walter Gretzky's here. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. He seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Maybe a little nicer than his son,
Yep.
Wayne, but I don't know.
Yeah, the Lord Mayor of Brantford, Walter, rest in peace.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Great guy.
Yeah.
And they have a sports center named there. Isn't it Gretzky?
Yeah, they got the Gretzky Sports Center.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
plus Brantford, the telephone city.
Telephone
Yes,
City.
Yes, yes.
So there's another thing about being Telephone City and where playing at the church has led me. When Hamilton, that's my hometown, but Brantford now, 25 years now I've been there. When they reopened Harmony Square, and they kind of have it tapped as to this is where the first phone call was made, or close to it anyway. They had a big Canada Day celebration for it, or it was just before Canada Day, but we really celebrated Canada. But ended up playing the national anthem for it there
Nice.
because of my tie to you
Yeah.
know, the lady that was singing. She's part of my choir, and she said, "Hey, can you come along and accompany me?" So yeah,
Sometimes you get those nice little, chestnuts that fall into your
Yeah.
lap. That you can just, I think it's great. Like if you haven't been to Brantford, people go check it out.
yeah, it's
Like,
a great little town now. It's
it's really kind of growing up.
it's
too.
expanding.
Yeah.
And we even talk about like the pre-COVID population or the post-COVID population, and our attendance at church.
Oh, I know.
It's
Isn't that
exploding.
something?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
What a good problem to have. A
Yeah.
lot of churches closed during COVID,
Right.
or
Yeah.
in the process of still closing, and here we are. Like attendance is like,
Yeah, to the point where you start improvising and then doubling up on the communion hymns and more improvising and then more doubling up.
Yeah, community takes forever.
It takes
Put 1,000 people through the line, getting
Yeah.
it's just like.
We,
So we actually do meditation,
yeah,
which kills up a lot of time.
Yep.
And then we launch into the actual communion hymn.
yeah.
And it's like I refuse to be one of these, except for maybe during Lent when you're not supposed to do like
Yeah.
instrumental. I'll kick through the extra verse or do some of the verses over again.
Yeah.
But I hate redoing the hymn over and over and over
Yeah.
to the point where it's ritualistic like that. I'd rather let's just do another one then.
Yeah.
So that's why we do the meditations
Yeah.
and then kick into like I say, it's I hate this not playing during Lent thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
And then I'm like, I just stopped playing, I guess. And
Yeah.
then they're doing communion in silence, and I'm like,
Yeah, the one thing I'll use, sometimes I'll just use that time to get a little creative with what I'm playing. I'll still have the choir singing, throw in a instrumental interlude.
well, those are the best times to work on things like that.
And that's when, like, there was one Easter I got so bored playing the same song over and over, playing verses over and over. I started challenging myself. I just started playing left hand only. Put my right hand down. Plus, I was also shaking it out because at that point I was losing feeling in my right hand.
Yeah.
But these are these are the times that we have to use. Like, you live away from your church. I'm a decent distance from mine. I'm still in Brantford, but still about a 20-minute drive. So I'll take any of these times to just work on technique. Take whatever opportunity you get.
Yeah.
To do what you do.
So, what direction do you see yourself going there in Brantford? What would you like? What's the future look like down there?
It's massive. I mean, the population growth is the one thing. This was the interesting thing though about, like, and I'll go back to COVID. Father, we weren't set up for live streaming, and Father Kevin got us. He was very rudimentary. There was a music stand in front of the altar with an iPad on it.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That was the extent of us at the very beginning too.
And I would go in every other week, just with my phone, record some music for him to play in the background when he was going to walk out. Because our health unit was very stringent. When we reopened in July of 2020,
July, yeah.
I'm up in a loft 25 feet in the air, 100 feet away from anybody. I still couldn't sing. The health unit didn't allow any public singing. From then until we shut down again after Christmas.
Yeah, it was right after Christmas. They
Yeah,
shut us
it
down.
was
again.
Boxing Day.
Yeah, it was Boxing Day. That's right.
And while most organists love the break after Christmas, I didn't think we wanted the extended break until the start of Lent 2021. But, so that's Father started reaching out that way. And it pulled some people in. And then, when we reopened for good, you'd see a little bit more this week, a little bit more that week, a little bit more. Then, the diocese twice a year does the count, where they want to know attendance numbers, right? And all of a sudden you start seeing, well, that's 20 people more there this week, and that's 30 more. Now we're like 150 people more than we were the year before. So the growth of St. Basil's is phenomenal. Even the music ministry has probably grown by 40%.
It's pretty good. Since COVID.
Since COVID. We started a kids choir, kids ministry. Had a lot of get up and go right at the onset. And then, then everything started to kind of level off. Still got probably a core dozen of kids, 8 to 12 kids.
Are your schools attached to that church?
No.
No, okay.
No, there's none on the property.
Okay.
The two buildings that used to be schools back in the 40s and 50s, they're now residences. So,
Okay.
so no, there's nothing like that, nothing attached. And I mean, I grew up at Peter and Paul in Hamilton.
Yep.
So, I mean, we had a field
Yeah.
in between the school and the church. So there was always a lot of activity between the two.
The L-shaped church.
Yeah, the West Wing.
Yeah, the West Wing.
The
Yes,
West
it was.
Wing.
Yep.
That's the OG
Yep.
West Wing. Forget the
But
TV
it was
show.
a nice, comfy, cozy church,
Yeah.
I thought. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So getting the families involved, what's happened since COVID and the population growth is there's a lot of kids coming to Mass now. A lot of kids that want to be involved. I'm going to tell you the funniest thing that I laugh at though, and this goes back to the old debate of the kids want the praise and worship music only. And every kid in my choir, Mr. Dave, which is okay, Mr. Dave I'll take. Mr. Cahill, no, that's my father or my older brother. Mr. Dave or Dave, can we sing upstairs? Can we use the organ? Absolutely.
See, that's cool.
These kids, because they're not around it, right? They're not exposed to it. So when they hear that, and they hear the real power of what's coming out of there, and they can just give her.
Yeah.
They love to belt it, right? And they sing it with such passion, such excitement, right? And they hear this organ going. I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's And the first time we had the kids choir, the parents were like, can you play downstairs so that we can all see our kids singing? And I'm sure, it's exciting for the parents, right? They want to see their kids involved in the ministries.
Not exciting for the kids.
No, they didn't. You know what? Not for nothing. Love the Little Rogers. Love the Nordheimer. Not the same as my big old pipe organ though. My old
Cool.
Warren.
Have a Rogers down front. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. My beautiful 1909 Warren. They wanted to hear her, so we use her all. It's so cool.
So we need to start a car wash or something fun to get this organ.
Car wash.
Because it's a really nice organ, I have to say. I really enjoyed playing it for that wedding many years back.
Yeah.
And it's got some awesome. Well, Dwayne sounded really good playing it at that concert that night. I thought, and it can't be wasted away.
No,
It needs
it's
to be,
it was last done in the 70s.
Yeah. So it's due.
It's
Every
due.
50
Everything.
years.
Yeah. All the leathering and stuff. It's time.
Yeah.
So, but
That'd
it's
be nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful organ.
Because you got a nice loft, you got a nice setting there.
Yep.
And like I said, I'll put another picture up on the screen so you
Yeah.
can see it. But it's a phenomenal church, really beautiful.
Yeah.
What about the parishioners? Like I've attended a few other churches, like the Mennonite church, where everybody sings in harmony.
Yeah.
You don't just sing
talk in
bass
harmony, too.
because you're a man. And it's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
There was even a time at one of their universities that they only had 2 majors, theology and music.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to Elmira or Toronto, Toronto United Mennonite Church, like the modern Mennonite churches, well, even in the old order too, such beautiful music. Then Joe and I, we experienced about a year ago here, the Christian Reformed, they filled this whole church.
Yeah.
Like
It was 1,200
Yeah.
people.
Remember the video. Check out the video if you haven't seen it.
It was quite something.
Yeah.
And Joe and I stood there, and Joe said, "I've never heard singing like this in this church." And he said before, because they sing 7 hymns, I think, in every worship service.
Yeah.
He says, "All right, let's sing from the diaphragm."
Okay.
And Father Ian phones over from the house. He's like, I can hear it over in the house.
Holy
It
moly.
was coming, because it was like,
Yeah.
It was
I
incredible.
thought the roof was going to go. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it.
But, how can we, or do you have any ideas on how we can help the parishioners to get more passionate about singing?
I'll tell you the funniest thing with our new parishioners. There's a lot coming from other parts of the world.
Right.
And the thing that really, they're all enthused. They're all enthused to be involved, right? They're coming here so they can worship freely.
Right.
But what hit home for me was when we were talking about starting the youth group, the youth choir, and they pointed out that hymns like Holy God, we praise your name, and how great thou art, those are new hymns to them because they don't experience them in their home country.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's probably the biggest shocker. It was such an eye-opener because you just think of those hymns and you think, well, everybody knows them. Holy God, we praise your name. Everybody knows it.
Benediction hymn.
Yeah. So it was such an eye-opener for them, or for me, I should say, and for them, that they're not all used to these hymns that I call an old staple. And they are experiencing such new stuff that finding that happy medium, I don't know, where you want to do new stuff because you always want to be pushing yourself and the choir and the ministry because they want to stay, you want them to stay engaged, you want to stay engaged. But how many do you just kind of, at some point, do you just start saying, okay, for a brief period of time, let's just stick with the old staples? How quickly do you introduce new stuff? But then you realize, for a lot of your parishioners now, everything is new stuff. So everything is, I think, a lot of it is just time. And that's the only thing that we can give ourselves. Develop a program that, you're not doing 18 new hymns a month.
Right. Make it a little more manageable and attainable.
Yeah. And then over time, they're going to come to realize, and then once we get to that point, the new hymnal is going to come out.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's just going to throw us all off anyway.
Christmas is coming too.
Yeah.
Like how many years have we been hearing
Yeah.
about this new hymnal?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that, like, we do a lot of repeats of the popular ones.
Oh, yeah.
And let's face it, on a Marian Day, they sing like crazy here.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that want to be here, right? And it really, I think you have to do ones that they know, favorites, and it's not all about having 18 new hymns a month. You're right. We got 3 mass settings that we rotate around each year, and that way they can, not doing a new mass setting every month or something like that. It is time to bring in a couple new ones now, especially with the new book coming out. But I think that's a great way to look at it, And like you say, these people coming from other parts of the world, able to worship freely, they're very enthused about it. We've actually integrated a couple into the choir that have wanted to join, and it's been wonderful. Welcoming these people in because they've got such a passion. For it, and I'm like, well, of course you want to sing. Let's go. They come. I'm just new to the country. I don't care if you're new to the country. You want to sing? Let's go.
But it's really the same thing that's happened. I've probably had half a dozen come in. 4 to 6, and you sit there at practice. Like, okay, we'll just run through, insert random hymn here, and they're like, oh, can we maybe try verse 2 again? I've never sang this before, and you've got everybody going, what?
When you get them asking that, that they're all in.
They're all in. They were all in, and thankfully to be comfortable and confident enough to say, can we do it again? They're not playing they're not reserved. They're not holding back. It's go time, right? So
the future looks good for Brantford.
Future's looking good for Brantford. We've got 4 Catholic churches in the city. Plus Paris and Burford. And
Scotland part of yours?
Scotland's still part of ours. They're a mission of Burford now.
Okay, all right.
I got a frantic call from a funeral home a couple years ago. Any chance that you can come out? And I said, believe it or not, it's the closest parish for me. So I zipped down there, played this little 1940s Wurlitzer that they've got. Sitting in the back of the church. There's no loft. Sitting in the back of the church, facing the back of the church. Little locker mirror on the wall behind me that I can watch what's going on. So that was interesting. It's kind of staticky and playing on its own sometimes. And
those are the experiences that make you stronger. And those are the dues that you pay to get to There's nothing fake about you doing that. You just gave them the best effort, and I think that's where the success comes from. And that's what makes us better people. If we're willing to try and go that, extra step, and it's a bit of a service industry too. And
well, I mean, the one thing you have to realize, again, we're a ministry. We're a ministry within the church. Our job is to lead the people in prayer.
That's right.
But we also have to be inspiring. We've all most likely gone to churches where, you know, they sit down and I mean, the music's written and they play the music and they play it technically proficiently, but there's no emotion behind it.
Yeah.
And that's a hard sell to try and get people engaged. It's
like I say, the worst thing you can do is perform like you're a jukebox and somebody's dropped the money in the machine and you're just turning the music out, right? You got to have some emotion behind it. And because if you can feel it, you're going to transfer it onto them and then they're going to feel it, right?
Yeah.
And that's sometimes a hard thing to get through, but a lot of people that we've met and we do okay here, like, you know, Julian even.
Joe's taught me though, you can go too far. You can go too far with the right brain.
Yeah.
And that emotion, because even Daniel, is it Blondell?
Brondell, yeah.
Brondell.
St. Patrick's.
At St. Patrick's.
Okay.
You know, he almost was like a copy of Joe.
Yeah.
I played a piece for him. He said, you know, those are eighth notes. And I said, I know, but they sound much more beautiful if you play them as quarter notes. And he said, same as Joe has always told me, you want to play those kinds of notes like that? Compose your own music. So
don't change the composers.
He said your right brain is really well developed. You got all that emotion, musicality. You know this is great.
Yeah.
But you know, there's some integrity to this piece, and you can still have artistry without changing the eighth notes to quarter notes.
Yeah.
And then he played it, and like Joe has played it, and I thought, oh no, it's there. But to get that balance of the left brain and the right brain, when especially a parishioner says, oh, his sound is so beautiful, and you're like, yeah, but you'd get about 4 to 10 if you had played it for an exam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You got to find that balance.
Yeah.
And so it's hard when people compliment you, but know that, you know, like, you got to respect the composer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's dead.
Yeah, but
you
still.
know, he can't hear me. Like, you know, there's some composers, Joe's like, he may actually listen to this, you know, so be careful.
Yeah.
Or somebody that knows the work really well.
Yeah.
Knows the work really well. Yeah. Like, just don't change Mozart. Not too much.
No.
Or Bach.
You know, or Bach, or, you know, like, I had to learn that. I'm still learning that.
Yeah, it's not good to alter well-known composers' work too much, because it makes you look very presumptuous then too.
Yeah.
And there's other pieces of work that are lesser known that do sound better done like that. You can get away with that sort of thing, and that's what I'd encourage.
Yeah. So I have to ask Joe sometimes, like, which one is it? Is this one I can take license with?
Yeah.
Or is this one
Mr. Rubato, we call him now.
Yeah.
It's not Rubato, he's Rubato.
Oh, okay.
Well, what do you think, Dave? Should we have Dwayne on the show sometime?
No.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Dwayne.
Oh, you should. Why not?
Yeah,
why not?
Dwayne. And he's got some good stories.
He's got some good stories. He's had an interesting go musically.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some great life experiences with the diocese and everything. I want to find out more about this accompanist that plays for him, and he just conducts.
Yeah.
I got to find out more about that.
Yeah, it's and the other thing he says too with the conducting, it's great to get your step count because you're watching.
You can do 6,000 steps just by conducting a whole mass. I'll be like this, and all of a sudden the watch goes off. And look at that, 6,000 steps, and I haven't left in the same 4-foot square area.
Absolutely.
Or even from playing the organ too, right?
Yeah.
You know, by the time 11 o'clock mass is over, I'm like, oh, look at that.
Yep.
6,000 steps, right?
Yep. Step count's good. Where's a brownie?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's cool. Well, Dave, thanks for coming in.
Oh, I appreciate it.
This is
Thank
great.
you.
You know,
Yeah.
getting people from other, you know, we had Diego from Toronto, and we had Dave from Brantford.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get Dwayne from Oakville.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't-
is he living in Oakville or Hamilton?
No, he's still living in Hamilton.
Hamilton, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We hope to get Cardinal Collins.
that'd be great to get him in here sometime when he gets back from Rome, maybe.
Yeah, he's a little busy right now.
Yeah, he's a little busy.
A little busy.
But he's here all the time doing mass because he lives
Yeah.
in Guelph. So, but it would be really good to get him in, get his synopsis on what went on over there.
Yeah, that would be an amazing
We
interview.
watched him on TV. I saw him on there numerous times.
Yep.
In the news clips there.
Yeah.
And I just like to pick his brain a little bit
He might be a way to get the Pope to come here, Pope Leo.
to visit
Leo,
visit Canada or
Basilica.
something. Like
Oh, I
that,
think
right?
so,
You know,
yeah.
as a North American Pope,
Yeah.
it would be great.
Come and see where I was ordained. Come and see where I grew up.
And being a basilica, it's one of their official churches.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows where this might lead? You know.
I could lead anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look at John Paul. He was the most traveled pope.
Yeah.
You know, it would be nice to have another pope that was able to travel.
Well, I'll tell you, just before we wrap up, I'll tell you a funny story about Father Don San Vito.
Oh, I love him.
Great priest. My first pastor at St. Basil's. This was a lesson. Again, we're talking about World Youth Day. This was a lesson. Kids, pay attention to this lesson. My first Advent at St. Basil's. First weekend of Advent to Saturday night. And Father Don gets up to start his homily. He says, we've received a letter from the diocese. As you know, the Holy Father is coming to Canada for World Youth Day in 2022. And they have advised that he would like to visit some of the more prominent local parishes, and we're one of the originals. So I'm letting you all know that we have been selected for him to come and celebrate Mass before the World Youth Day. And the whole congregation erupts. Laughter, clapping, everyone like that. Someone stops me on the back of the show and says, you're going to play for the Pope. Now, when I told Dwayne this story, he's like, you realize the diocesan choir would play for it, right? And it'd be Rob. And I'm like, you got to take this from me? But then 5 to 10 seconds down the road, everyone's clapping, everyone's all excited, and Father Don goes, just kidding.
Oh.
Well, look how excited you got for the Pope, but who's coming in 4 weeks? And the whole congregation went back down to center. Ooh. Message heard. Favorite, this is almost 24 years ago now that he told that story, and I'll never forget it.
Wow, and, we should get him a set of those things that hang off the back tail hitch of a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, being able to say something like that.
He got us all.
Yeah.
We did the Wayne's World, my cantor that night, and then I did the Wayne's World with Alice Cooper, We're Not Worthy. It was such a lesson. Such an eye-opener, right?
Great guy, though. Great guy. And he was just here, like I say, this weekend he celebrated Mass here.
Yep.
With Sacred Heart group that was doing a tour here.
Oh,
Sacred Heart
in
Guelph, but he's still doing okay. He
he
walks
is.
a little slower but he still talks in fine form. He's in fine form.
Oh yeah.
Said a wonderful Mass.
Phenomenal blues musician too, with the harmonicas.
Really? Oh really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. One day I'll find I've got a video of us on stage. Yeah.
Father Don.
Yeah. Good guy. So.
Well.
Yeah.
Bruce?
Yes.
Dave, thank you. Thank you all for watching.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free.
Yeah.
Helps out the channel and everything like that. And we'll see you again really soon.
Absolutely.